everyone, and welcome to the 2025 EduMatch Keynoter Showcase. My name is Sarah Thomas, and I'm the founder CEO of EduMatch, and I'm super honored that you're here with us today. So you're going to hear from a dynamic lineup of powerhouse speakers from our EduMatch network, voices who bring expertise, inspiration, and impact to stages all across the world. Each speaker is just going to give you just a little snippet of their mini keynote. So these are authentic previews, powerful snapshots of work that they're doing to shift hearts, systems, and practice. We also invite you to find out more about our speakers in the resource that we're going to share a little later on. So just to give you a little preview of what you are going to encounter today, you're going to hear from 3 dynamic speakers covering a variety of different topics. These speakers are available to come to your school, your district, your conference, your organization to help your educators level up. So if any time you say, hey, this is my person right here, this is the person I need, then please reach out to us using our inquiry form. You'll see it on the bottom, bit.ly/edumatch-inquiry-form. And we can help to facilitate the magic and connect you to one of them. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So our very first speaker for today is Dr. Salandra Grice-Johnson, and she is a passionate educator, inclusion specialist, and one of our EduMatch authors who has written the title Embrace, Empower, Educate, and Include, along with a variety of other books that you should also check out. So Salandra's work centers on developing equity-minded educators who lead with purpose and build inclusive learning spaces where every student feels seen, heard, and valued. Her message is going to challenge us to go beyond the awareness so that we can take bold, empowered steps that transform classrooms and leadership. So without any further ado, I am going to pass it right along to Dr. Salandra Grice-Johnson.
Hello, everyone. It is a true privilege to be here with you today, not just as a speaker, but as a fellow educator who's walked the same path that many of you are on. For over 20 years, I've had the honor of working across all levels of education. I've walked the hallways, led classrooms, guided teachers, mentored school leaders, and most importantly, I've stood firmly in the gap for students too often pushed to the margins. I've taught, led, coached, and collaborated with countless teachers and school leaders across the country and currently support future teachers becoming phenomenal educators. And through every step of that journey, one thing has remained clear. Our schools are full of potential, but they are also full of deep and persistent inequities. As a former educator turned equity advocate, I've seen firsthand how racial, gender, linguistic, and socioeconomic disparities continue to shape the outcomes of our students in unjust ways. Now, we know these disparities are not new, but the current political and educational climate has made addressing these issues even more complex. And I know educators want to support all students. And I know school leaders want to create inclusive, thriving campuses. But many feel caught in the middle, torn between high stakes testing, parent pressure, and increasingly anti equity narratives that seek to silence honest conversations about identity, culture, and justice in education. And I know what that tension feels like because I've lived it. But I also know that despite these challenges, we can and must do better. That's why I'm here today with a clear message and a powerful call to action. It's time to reclaim our role as change makers in education. Now, this solution lies in developing equity minded educators and leaders, professionals who are not only willing to embrace diversity, but who are equipped to empower students, educate with purpose, and build learning spaces that truly include every student every day. Across the country, I've worked with teachers and school leaders who are doing this work, transforming their classrooms and schools into places where students, families, and teachers feel seen, heard, challenged, and supported. They are creating environments where academic and social success go hand in hand and where equity is not just a buzzword, it's a daily practice. When equity is the focus, the sky is the limit. And I believe that you can do this too. And I believe that we can do this together. So today, let's dig in, let's talk honestly about the barriers, but let's also celebrate the possibilities. Because the future of education isn't in the hands of policymakers, it's in our hands. And I'm here to help us move forward with courage, clarity, and conviction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Salandra. That was amazing. And to everyone watching, if you're interested in bringing her to your school, your district, your organization, or your conference, and just reach out to us using our inquiry form, and we will go ahead and connect you. So again, here is the link to our inquiry form, bit.ly/edumatch inquiry form. All right. So up next, we have our next dynamic speaker, Dr. Matt Rhoads, who is a leading voice in instructional innovation and educator development. So in his high energy keynote, then Matt shares practical strategies that help new and novice teachers thrive, not just survive in today's classrooms. From classroom routines to using AI intentionally, he lays out a playbook that builds confidence, community, and real impact. So whether you're supporting first year teachers or building systems to retrain great ones, then Matt's insights are essential. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Dr. Matt.
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Matt Rhoads, and I'm thrilled to be with you today. Before I wrote books and provide professional learning within K-12, higher ed, and adult education, I was a brand new high school special education teacher, and I can still feel the buzz of the first year that I was a teacher, and I had a lot of excitement and passion, but a really overwhelming feeling that I was perpetually one step behind. And ultimately, I spent the first year trying to keep my head above water and build that confidence. And I knew deep down that our students don't need teachers uh, to just survive. Rather, they need teachers who are thriving and confident. So, what I'm going to do today is share three powerful tips. And in the real keynote, there's 50 tips to help you just do that. The first tip comes from this proactive mindset of script your first 5 minutes. I don't mean an outline, I mean a word for word script that you can deliver with confidence. It sounds like this. Good morning. I'm so excited that you're here today. Please find your name on your desk and answer one question on your mini whiteboard. This isn't just about one moment. It's about your first step in building these automated routines for your students to build that predictable and successful classroom environment. When students know exactly what to do, you free up that mental space for yourself and them to allow the real learning to begin. The second tip relates to you must be the thermostat, not the thermometer. A thermometer simply reflects the temperature of the room, all the jitters, the energy, and anxiety. A thermostat, however, sets the temperature. You have the power to decide the climate of your classroom. Through your intentional tone, your calm presence, and a clear preparation, you're one who determines if you're in the room that will be calm, that is focused on learning. The third and critical tip of the first few weeks of school is to find your marigold. In gardening, marigolds are companion plants that help everything around them thrive and protect them from the pests. In your school, you must find that positive veteran teacher who will nurture your growth. They are your sounding board, your source of wisdom, and your defense against the negativity that sometimes creep into a school in classrooms. Your support system isn't a bonus, it's essential for you to not only survive, but to thrive. Overall, these three tips to have that script for that routine, that mindset that sets the climate, and that mentor that provides those supports creates that solid foundation for you to begin your journey. They are the difference between reacting to your first year and leading it. You are not meant to simply get through this. You're meant to change lives. Now you have three powerful tools to just do that today.
All right, thank you so much, Matt. So Matt just shared some great tips with all of our new and novice teachers to help them thrive and not just survive their first year. So um, if you want to bring Dr. Matt to your school, then please fill out our link at bit.ly/edumatch inquiry form. So rounding out our panel for today is our third and final speaker, Dr. Rachelle Dene Poth, a global educator, author, and innovation strategist who leads with heart and purpose. In this keynote, then Rachelle introduces her Thrive framework, which is tenacity, honesty, reliability, integrity, vulnerability, and empathy as the foundation for real, lasting innovation. Her message is a call to build relationships first so that creativity and inclusion can flourish for both educators and students. So let's hear from Rachelle.
Hi, my name is Rachelle Dene Poth, and I'm thrilled to talk to you about my Thrive framework and connecting humanity and innovation in education. I've loved learning my whole entire life, and what makes me really passionate about education is the opportunity to take risks, to learn more, and to share that with the students. But even more importantly, to dive in and learn from the students, because we are all learners in our classroom. And when I speak in public, I often focus on quotes and personal stories and experiences. And years ago, I had the opportunity to give a keynote. It was probably 8 years ago, and I was very nervous about it and almost backed out of it. But I thought, what kind of a model does that set for my students? And I need to be willing to take risks myself. So I did not back out of it. But after that, I read a book, Daring Greatly, by Dr. Brene Brown. And I'm a huge fan of quotes, and they make me really think about what I'm doing as an educator and just take a moment to pause. And a quote that stuck out to me in that book was about vulnerability. And prior to reading that, I thought vulnerability was a sign of weakness, but in fact, it's actually a sign of strength. And when we're entering this world where we have AI and other emerging technologies and things are changing in education, we really do need to be vulnerable and take risks and not be afraid of making mistakes. And that quote came from a speech given by Teddy Roosevelt in 1910 at the Sorbonne in Paris, where he was focused on the man in the arena, where basically you prepare as best as you can, you enter into whatever the arena may be, and you don't necessarily have a control over the outcome. The only thing that you can control is how well you prepare for it, and you have to be ready to accept that you might be defeated, but that's just learning, and that's okay. And so I always start with a quote and then tie it into my own experience as a student and as a teacher. I would not still be in education had it not been for the powerful mentor that I had as a student in law school. I've always been an educator, but I decided to apply for law school many, many years ago. And after having given a defense in a mock trial situation, there was a professor who I knew, but I had not had him for class prior to that experience. And after it was over, I felt okay about it, but he took a moment to come over and tell me, "You did a good job there, kid." And I laughed because I was definitely not still a kid. And to this day, which is 19 years after I graduated law school, we are still connected. He is still a mentor. And I say many times I would not still be in education had it not been for my law school experience. I would not be doing the things I'm doing or talking with students or sharing ideas like I am now had it not been for what I experienced as a law school student. Recognizing the struggles of learning, the challenges that come with it, but it also led me to look at my classroom in a different way and see the power of relationships. And there's a great quote by E.E. Cummings, which is, "Once we believe in ourselves, we can risk curiosity, wonder, spontaneous delight, or any experience that reveals the human spirit." And since we are in this ever evolving era, I should say, of education with AI and other technologies, we really do have to be open to taking risks, even if we're not a fan of AI or don't know where we can fit it in or it feels overwhelming. That's okay. We just have to know enough to get started and let our students dive in. And let me tell you really briefly about my Thrive framework that I came up with about 6 years ago. These are characteristics that I really value in my personal life, professional life, and I hope that students will develop, but I think they're really important. And it's tenacity, honesty, relatability, integrity, vulnerability, and empathy. And when we think about connecting humanity and innovation and education, I think that's essential. And it's not just about the technology, tools are great, But we have to create these environments for students where they can thrive, like I like to say, and educators feel empowered. Students feel that they're part of the learning process, they're making the decisions, they're involved in giving us feedback. And I'm not sure where to begin. That's okay. You just have to start small. A conversation, a discussion, taking one risk. It's just one moment that you have with students. It does make you vulnerable, but like I said, that is a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. And living by this framework helps me to think about things like innovation and access and collaboration, which are essential. And all of these involve the human in the loop, as we hear. And so I love talking about all things education, especially when it comes to AI, and sharing my personal story, but also the stories of others and the stories of students that have impacted me in my work and in my professional learning journey. I hope I get a chance to speak with you, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rachelle. So if you're interested in bringing Rachelle to your educators in your school, district, organization, or conference, then contact us using our inquiry form and we will reach out to you. So once again, the link is bit.ly/edumatch-inquiry-form. So we wanted to give a huge thank you to all of our incredible keynoters for sharing their wisdom, energy, and heart today. If any of our speakers resonated with you and you're just like, hey, that's my person, I want to bring them into my organization and you're ready to take the next steps, then book a call with us at bit.ly/edumatch-inquiry-form, and one of our team members will reach out to you within 48 business hours to get that set up. You can also go to find out more about our speakers to events.edumatch.org/keynotes. So on behalf of the entire EduMatch team, thank you so much for watching, for learning, and for amplifying these powerful voices. Let's continue to empower the expert within. Have a great school year.